Okay, here's what happened. I got to McDonald's yesterday to have my pre-run breakfast and soda, and I was reminded that the day before when I recorded, I felt very distracted by the noises that were going on in McDonald's, and I felt like I wasn't giving my full attention. So I thought, well, I'm just not gonna do this. I'm gonna go. I'll record while I'm in the car before I go run, or after I run, or in the house afterwards. And well, none of those things happened. I hung out a little too long at McDonald's and got to the trail a little later than I wanted. So I'm going to start running. And the running was hard, folks. It was hard. I don't know why. Harder than I expected. I think I was running very tensely and like trying to keep my pace slow. For the training that I'm doing, right? Running coach, and she's like, run slow, conversational pace. And like I had to be aware of keeping my pace slow. Really, what I do is I keep my heart rate low. And then that generally corresponds with the pace and overall feeling and whatever. But yeah, it was just really difficult to do that. And I ended up feeling worse after that 11-mile run than I did at the last half marathon that I ran. And I was running like 2 minutes per mile slower than the half marathon pace. And yeah, so I finished the run. I was like, oh, I just feel terrible. And so I went home and I hung out with Nora for a bit, to watch some TV, and I just felt more and more terrible. Like I just like aches all over, and like you expect like your legs to be sore, but like my abs, my shoulders, my biceps, like I must have just been just clenching every muscle while I ran in attempts to keep my pace slow. And the ironic thing is that if I had just let it go a little bit, probably my overall pace would have been the same, because I would have slowed down as the run went on. So I don't know. But so anyway, long way to say, I did not record anything yesterday. But here I am today, coming to you from sunny RDU, Raleigh-Durham International Airport, gate C10, where in a little bit I will be boarding a plane to go to Boston, Massachusetts, where my work has deemed it necessary I need to be for the week. And coincidentally, my beloved Boston Celtics have just started off their first round series against the Atlanta Hawks. And game 2 will be Tuesday evening in Boston, and I will be there, and I will go. I have a ticket. And how could this be better? Well, let me tell you how this could be better. Later today, Nora is going to be flying up to join me in Boston for Monday night, Tuesday night, Wednesday night, and fly back home Thursday. I will stay till Friday. And yeah, so we'll be going to the game together. So one of the perks of her job is that she's essentially a remote worker now. So wherever she doesn't need to be in a specific city. Every now and then there's things that happen at the office in Raleigh, but not this week. Not this week. So yay! So serendipity, baby. If you're old enough to get that. So yeah, I'm heading to Boston. I'm sitting at an even noisier place than I would have recorded had I stayed at McDonald's yesterday, but I need to get this out. So yeah, put your tray tables in the upright position, or what is it? Still put your tray tables up and your seat back in the full upright position, and fasten your seatbelt, because here we go. It is Monday. What is it? It's Monday, April 17th, 2023. And as of this recording, I'm still depressed, but I'm not dead. So by my official count, today is day 2 of being medication free, right? Day 1 really didn't count because I take the medication at night, so that whole day was blah, blah, blah. So today I am like 2 full days, 48 hours free of medication of any kind, other than trazodone for sleep, which may be a little bit more psychological, like a hey, I just want to get to sleep, so I'm going to take this. I don't know that I really need it, but I don't want to sacrifice. I don't want to lose out on sleep, right? So yeah, so that's 2 days doesn't really mean anything. Half-life of the Trintellix, I think I looked this up once before, it's like 96 hours. So really, we'll see. If I according to the math, if I'm going to fall apart, it should start in about 24 hours. And I'm traveling, which is one of the more stressful things in life. First world nations will tell you. So this, I'm sure this will be fine, right? What do we have to worry about? But yeah, so that's a thing, and I'm ambivalent about it. Other than there's a general like the thought of it seems right. Right? It doesn't. I don't feel anything about it. It just seems like if I don't need to, why should I? Right? I'm in many ways a minimalistic kind of guy. So yeah, the fewer the better. Less is more, something. I don't know. Yeah. So yeah, I'm going to Boston, and this is. I know. Nora is gonna. If the Celtics go to the finals again, Nora's gonna say, "Well, I took you to that one playoff game," and I was, "No. The deal was we go to a finals game, but those prices are ridiculous, so I get it, and this is kind of halfway paid for, right? Like my trip to get there will be paid for, my hotel will be paid for, our hotel will be paid for, et cetera, et cetera. So it's a nice little coincidence. So we're taking it, we're running with it, and yeah, hopefully the Celtics do not disappoint me. So, yeah. What else is going on? I don't know. I talked about the run. The run was really hard. There's something. I don't know. Hang on. I'll be right back. Hey, I've returned in accordance with prophecy. So, you know what I'm going to do is, I think starting next week, I'm going to start revisiting, I'm going to run the show as if I was just starting out again. And I'm going to talk about different aspects of my experience with depression. And I think it'll be through the lens of my current states, right? So it won't be, if you listened way back in the beginning, or if you've gone back to listen to some of the beginning episodes, I was in a really, really dark place, and I'm not in that place anymore. I still have different thoughts and maybe feelings and lack of feelings, and still very much dealing with mental illness. But I'm in a different place than I was before, and I would like to revisit some of those things, because I think there should be value in that, right? Like early on, it was people found me and they're like, "Oh, this guy is talking about the deepest, darkest things that I feel and think about." And if you've been around for a while, you've been on this journey, and you see where I've gotten to, but I still kind of remember those places and those things. So I want to talk about that. I want to talk about calling the mental health hotline. I want to talk about DBSA meetings. I want to talk about different things, and hopefully, I can do that. So, I often ask you all to send me some feedback, and I very frequently get some, and I would like more. I would like to hear what kind of topics you would like me to talk about, right? And I don't want to. I've long said I don't want to become. Resource isn't the right word, but I don't want to be like the fixer guy, right? Because I can't. It's absolutely illogical for me to think that I can offer you a nugget and it's going to make you better. It's illogical that the path I took is going to work for you the way it worked for me. And I've tried to be open about the things that kind of have worked for me, or the things that I see having been a benefit. But like I don't have the answers, right? But I want to offer up kind of information and ideas. So let me know what you would like. If if there's a topic in the past that you've heard or even recently, and you're like, you really didn't tell us anything. Come on, JP, you didn't tell us anything about this topic, really, of matter, of substance. And I will gladly go back and give more information, give more of myself, give more of my experience. So yeah, that's what we're gonna do. We are going to do that, and hopefully, I'm hoping next week I get that therapist on. They've got a very tight schedule, and it's a Friday, Saturday are the only days they're available. And I'm still not exactly sure where they're located, so I don't know how it's going to work. But we're going to try. Can anybody else hear that thumping? That is very distracting. I don't know. I don't know what's going on. So yeah, we're going to do that. That's the great audio theater here is me figuring out the course of the podcast here in your ears. I think that's going to be it. You know what? I do have the second half of that conversation I had with Dave where he was asking me questions about various things. You're going to hear a little bit about the Grand Canyon, about how Dave really doesn't get to travel or has not really done a lot of sightseeing, travel, natural traveling to see different things. And I don't know why I'm talking about Dave, but there you go, Dave. Yeah, so I'm going to play that. So if you weren't so hotsy-totsy on that the first time, maybe no hurt feelings. Go ahead and just I'll see you next week. But if you found that it was interesting, stay tuned because more of that is coming your way. And yeah, so thank you for listening. Get a hold of me, jamolki@gmail.com, facebook.com/jamolki, @jamolki on Instagram, and that other place, TikTok, and somewhere else. I don't know. You can text me in the U.S., 248-648-1419, worldwide, +1 248-648-1419. Let me know how you're doing. Let me know what you think of the show. Let me know what your favorite color is. I don't care. And yeah, everybody stay safe and be well. Thanks.
Okay. All right. You ready for another question?
Yeah, I'm ready. I'm ready. Hit me.
This one I don't know what you would say. I have no idea. So let's find out. What is one of the most beautiful? Let me say that again. What is one of the most beautiful places that you've ever been?
Hmm. Grand Canyon. Easy.
Okay.
Yeah, hands down. Um,
I have not been there myself, so I believe
yeah.
you.
Yeah, I've been twice.
Okay.
And Yeah, just fantastic. And actually, Nora and I are talking about taking a trip. So we go down inside, like go to the south wall and
Okay.
hike down, go across, hike up the north side, and then back again.
That sounds
So,
fun. Has she ever been
yeah, I
there
think
before?
no, she has not.
Ooh,
So
okay.
it just encompasses like everything I think of about nature, right? I mean,
Yeah.
it's beautiful sights and like the majesty of it all. It's enormous and it's just wow, like this is like not something people did or created or thought of or
Hmm.
anything, right? And yeah, absolutely.
Well, so that sounds like too much of a layup. So what would number two be?
Number two, so up in the UP of Michigan in Marquette, there's a Presque Isle. Um, and there's I've come to learn that there's Presque Isles like all over the place. Like I thought it was like a unique thing, but
I
it's not.
don't even
It's
know
not
what you're saying. What is
Presque,
that?
Presque Isle, I like island kind of thing.
Oh, okay.
It's this park. It's a state park, and it's right
Huh.
on the shores of Lake Superior.
Okay.
And it's really lovely there. It's like forest that comes right up to the water. There's a little bit of beach. There's sections that are all like really smooth uh stones, not pebble stones, not super big, but a little bigger than like a skipping stone, think of.
Huh.
Um and there's parts where there's kind of rock formations just out on the water, all kinds of things. It's really nice there. And
This is cool. Yeah, I'm pulling this up to look online as you're describing it. I'm the one who lives in Michigan, and
yeah,
I don't believe I've ever heard the term Presque Isle. I never
yeah,
heard
yeah,
this.
yeah. So I remember I was there once and there was a big storm just off the coast and the waves were amazing. Like how big, I think to think this is a lake and it was things you'd expect to see on a at the the ocean, like off where 8, 10, 12 foot waves, things like that.
Wow.
So
Yeah,
yeah,
cool.
yeah, good stuff.
But you're not there to swim or anything. You're there to take in the sights, maybe hike the trails and like the
Yeah,
scenic views, all that,
yes,
right?
yes, yes. And see some deer and
Oh yeah.
do
Maybe a
so
bear.
maybe a bear, but I have not seen one there.
That'd be
So
good.
I've only been a couple times. I dated a girl who went to college at Northern Michigan.
Yeah,
Um,
that's a hardy soul to do that. Yes.
yes, or just someone who likes to drink, apparently.
Oh, is that true? Oh, I didn't know
Yeah,
that.
well, long winters, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I had a friend who went there years ago and said at the time there was a remote parking lot where all the students would park, obviously, and you would like hike out to the cars and if you're a student, you're not driving every day. It's like you're
Hmm.
driving like maybe every few weekends for
Hmm.
groceries or something. And it was a common routine that people would huddle around and once someone got their car to crank and like they actually got it to start because it
Hmm.
was like just so cold and most of these are not like fabulous state of the art cars. These are
Right.
old,
Yeah.
college student cars back in the day. And so there was like a pay it forward idea that if your car started, everyone would help dust your car off and then you had to jump somebody and then they would do the same.
That's nice. That's very community driven. I like that.
Yeah. Now in the age of Teslas and everything, it's a whole different world. But I don't know if
Yeah.
that hasn't trickled down to most college kids yet, but probably not far off.
No, maybe not. Not long anyway. Yeah. So yeah, so
Yeah.
that's what I've got. What about you? What did you answer?
I skipped that one. I couldn't think of
Mm,
anything that I've never been to the Grand Canyon. I mean, I haven't been deprived. I've seen my share of things, but I didn't have anything that was like such a because like the goal here is that you would write about this is how this maybe I didn't say that at the onset, but you
mhm.
would be given this prompt and you would write out a few hundred words to tell the story.
Right.
And so it's not like a scrapbook to share pictures or anything like that. And I didn't have, even though I've seen lots of great things, but I don't have like the one like there's not like one that my mind is drawn to or one that speaks to me.
Sure.
So nothing like that. I mean, I've only been out of the country. I call it one time for real. Like
Hmm.
I actually used my passport in 2010, and I went to Argentina with my sister of all
Yep.
things because we were the
Uh-huh.
only ones available. Never been to Europe. I've been to Canada. I don't. That's why I make that distinction. Like I live in Detroit, so not
Right.
far away from Canada. So you can run over to Canada periodically. Less so now with COVID restrictions came and went, and border security has gotten more significant than it was
Yeah.
when I was growing up. But it used to be a more casual thing. You would just drive across, and there you are.
Yeah. No
And now
passport needed for like all through high
no,
school. Yeah.
no. Now they have like something called an enhanced driver's license, and
Hmm.
yes, a passport will work. But so I have used my passport out of convenience to drive a half hour to Canada for whatever reason,
Hmm.
so I don't count that. And so with all my worldly travels, being one trip really,
Right.
but then all around the country too. I just seen lots of good things, but nothing that really like moved me to the point where I could tell a word picture that would be
Yeah.
worth including in the story here. Yeah. So that one I just teed up for you. It was more for your to see what you
Yeah.
would say.
Yeah. Thank you. Yeah.
Oh yeah. All right. Here's one I think I answered, but I don't think I had a really great answer, but I'll give it all the same. What were your favorite toys as a child?
Uh, e- uh,
We're
the only
testing the
thing I
memory now.
remember, okay, so I remember Legos, of course, right? Children of
Yep.
the 80s. I think everybody had just a big brown cardboard box filled with assorted Legos.
Hmm.
Um, and then and remember like slot car racing?
I
Did I have that
do.
right?
Yes. I
Yeah.
had forgotten
So
this, but
you'd
yes.
have the track and the cars would have like a little pin sticking out of the bottom and for a while, and they kept them on the track. And then after a while, they became kind of magnetized, right? And it was all just electricity driven.
Yeah.
Um, and it was supposed to be racing, but basically you were just like however fast your car could be. That's what it like. There was no skill involved with it. Um,
Right. Yeah, because you're not turning. Or it seemed like it was more of an endurance game because at some point some car is going to jump the track or,
yeah, yeah. I guess
so
you had to
that
slow down a little bit for some of the corners, depending on how you built the track, right? Because the track came in all these sections. You had straights and turns, left turn, right turn, or whatever. But
right.
yeah. Um, So my joke is my favorite toy growing up was just a red playground ball. Right. Like I would go outside and just like I used to try to kick the ball as high as I could and see if I could still catch it.
Ah,
And yeah, I don't know.
you
In
say this
early
is your joke. Why is this your joke? I mean,
well, because
this is
it
true.
sounds very sad. Like
Oh,
poor
okay.
JP, like his only toy was a red playground ball. Right.
To play by myself.
Yeah.
Yep.
Right. Um, but yeah, I don't. I mean, there were other. I'm sure we had all the different games. Operation was big when we were kids. I
Yeah.
think. But yeah, I don't know. We had these little cars, and you put like a double A battery and or two double A batteries in them, and they had like a little gear shift on top, and you could just push it forward, and they would just go. And these were little things, like maybe
I think I know this.
four
Okay.
inches, 4 inches long, maybe 2 inches wide, right? And the only only reason I remember this is because we discovered one day, my brother and I, that if you put the simple motors back then, if you put the battery in backwards,
Oh
the
yeah.
the car would go backwards, right? And that's the only reason I remember. Like, I don't remember what we did with them or anything. We probably threw them at each other more than actually watched them go across the floor. But
Mm,
oh,
I get
yeah,
you. Yeah.
yeah,
When I saw
yeah.
this, so like when it says the question is like when you were like as a child,
Hmm.
and so you could take that like you're a child for a long period of time or
Yeah.
fairly long. So where would you? That's part of it is like what do you associate with your childhood maybe, but yeah, for me my answer was just like Star Wars stuff, like Star
Mm,
Wars figures and stuff like that. My favorite Star Wars thing was I had a snow speeder.
mm,
What I'm talking about that has like the little
yeah.
harpoon that would
Hmm.
shoot. Well, it
Yep.
didn't shoot, but it was on a little piece of plastic with a thread, and you would like move it around. But if you press down, it had a little R2D2's head on the top,
Hmm.
and if you press down, like it makes little sounds and stuff like that. That was my pride and joy toy. That was just
Uh,
the best of all this. Like I loved all the Star Wars action figures, not dolls, action figures,
right. Action figures,
and
right.
that yeah, and that one toy in particular was like just that was the perfect one.
We had the trash compactor
Oh, I had that
with
too.
like
Yes,
the
with the little
little foam
sponge
pieces. Yeah,
debris. Yep.
yep, yep, yep. So yeah, and actually, now that I think about it, I think my pride that of toys. So we were big into Transformers and
Uh-huh.
GoBots.
Yep.
GoBots never really stuck around. Um, and one year for Christmas, my mom got me. Um, I can't even think of who it was anymore. It was Transformer. It wasn't Optimus Prime, right? It wasn't like the guy, but this was he was like a jet, and
Starscream.
maybe, but and he was a bigger figure, right? I mean, he probably stood like a foot tall as a
Oh,
robot,
really?
and then you turned him into a jet. Yeah.
So
Um.
I'm googling Starscream Transformers. You gotta
Okay.
look this up later. We'll see if this is. I think I know that. I think I pulled that. That was pretty good by me. I'll take a
Mm.
bow.
Yeah, I'll take it. Yeah, but I don't remember like ever playing with it. But I
Hmm.
remember like, wow, like like oh my gosh, I have this. Like, how cool
Yeah,
am I that I have this, right? But yeah.
that
Mm.
is cool. Yeah, I never got the whole like collector thing where people would get something like there was a different kind of like even Star Wars, but just like you would get a kit and you'd make a model, but then you couldn't play with it ever.
Hmm.
Like
Yeah,
as a
no, that
kid, like
wasn't
I
me.
just
No.
it just did not make sense to me.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I tried Googling this Transformers Starscream, and it looks like you can buy current renditions because they did the Transformers movie.
Hmm.
So probably if I looked hard enough, I could find it, but I'm seeing all modern day.
Okay.
So the name Starscream is a thing, but I don't know if that's what you had or not. Hard to
Hmm.
say.
Yeah, I don't know. That word is not. That name is not.
Not hitting a bell, not ringing a bell for you.
No, it's not.
I was thinking that the one you described, the trash compactor,
Hmm.
it that had a like a little twisty lever thing, like you would like a vice grip. So you would turn this crank,
Hmm.
like a little
Yep.
dial that you would spin and spin and spin, and it actually had a like a spindle, and it would actually crank the door shut. And the idea was it would like the door would spill open, and you wouldn't actually damage your toy, and everything would just like fall out the other side. And I don't think it let you close it all the way. I think it had like a catch in there, maybe. But it probably wouldn't even be allowed these days. I don't know. Like you could actually like you actually have a vice. Like you could put your friend's toy in there and break it or something, or like or some small child or something. Like it was just dangerous enough. But yeah, yeah. But anyway, it was fine at the time, at
Yeah.
least for if you knew what you were doing with it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fun.
Yeah. Okay.
All right. I don't know how far you want me to go on this, but let me call out one more. This is more
Yeah. Yeah.
recent memory.
Sure.
All right. Did you have a car in high school?
I did. I had a 1986 Ford Escort hatchback, four-door hatchback.
Ah,
This was my first car. I remember my dad, we were never like rich, but my dad did worked really hard and was well off enough that when we got our license, he's like, okay, let's go look for cars. And I remember um like I had some thought, like I sat in a Trans Am, I think it was maybe a Trans Am. A Trans Am? That doesn't sound right
could
now,
be.
but like a pseudo wannabe sports car kind of thing, right?
Sure.
Um, and I was like, oh, I want this, and because it felt cool on the inside.
Yeah.
And then I don't know what happened, and then all of a sudden I had a Ford Escort, four-door hatchback, right? Like that was the car Dad picked for me,
Yeah.
and I was like thrilled, right? Like,
Oh
great,
yeah.
oh my
Yeah.
gosh, yeah, holy cow, right? And yeah, I mean, I washed that thing every week, and I
Right.
waxed it and like everything, right? Armor all and stuff for the tires, and it was it was a piece of junk car, but oh my, I wanted it to be like this was my thing, right?
Yeah, yeah. To you, it
Um,
wasn't. To you, it was like your freedom. It was, yeah, it's
yeah,
pretty awesome.
yeah. And then I had that car for a good while. And that's actually the car Niles and I took around the country
Hmm.
when we graduated high school. We went on our trip um, back in 1990, getting 30 miles to the gallon. Look at us,
Ooh.
way ahead of our time. Um,
Did you break down on that trip? I feel like you broke down.
we didn't break down,
Okay.
but we did have some serious car trouble. We
Okay.
yeah, we yeah, cattle guard. We went over a cattle guard too fast. Um,
I'm trying to picture that. What is a cattle guard?
so it was basically it's you've got basically just huge cattle grazing areas out
Uh-huh.
west, and they're all fenced over the land, but then there's roads that go through the areas, and in order to keep the cattle in, they would big grates, right?
Oh, I
Basically,
know.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Uh,
and oftentimes these are kind of elevated a little bit. At least that was my experience. And we were heading towards one, and we were like, "Oh, let's just do it. Let's just go." And
yeah.
yeah, and we hit it, and we went up over, and I'm confident that the front of the car came off the ground.
Uh-huh.
And then
Who was driving?
violent.
Was this you or your
That
friend
was me.
Niles?
It was me.
Oh, it was you. Okay.
Yeah. And then it just violently came back down. Right. So like the car itself never left the ground.
Yeah.
But the front end, I'm pretty confident did. And it was a hatchback, right? So we had all our stuff in the back, and everything in the back of the car came to the front of the car as we came back down and crashed. And yeah, I think it was like close to $1,000 in damage
Oh,
that we did
wow.
to the front end of the car, but it was
Yeah.
still drivable, right? So we were never actually stranded, but
Okay. Yeah, just bummed. Yeah.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, when you were
So
saying cattle guard, I was like focusing on the word guard and I was like picturing
like
like
a
some,
guardrail or
yeah, or something.
yeah.
Yeah. But it's just like a prison cell on lying on the ground, right? Like just metal poles
So
or
yeah,
something,
you get
metal
it. Yeah, yeah,
grates.
yeah. Just so like a hoof would go through,
Right. So yeah, it would
yeah,
keep like a cow from wanting to because you can't find footing on it. Yeah.
right. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. But
So
apparently you can get airborne with your car if you hit it at just the right angle and
if we
hit
had
it fast
gone
enough.
fast enough, we probably could have got all the way off the ground. But
A missed opportunity. That's too bad.
yeah, yeah. I think it was so there was a spot in Rochester. I don't remember where it was, but there was a road, I want to say it was like northeast of Rochester, somewhere up there, where like the road went over railroad tracks.
Hmm.
And it was one of those that was like a big kind of drop off, like a up and down, right? The kind that would make your stomach kind of flutter
Yeah.
when you went over
Yeah.
it, right? And I think Niles and I used to like we would go out of our way to go that route, and little
Right.
by little we would get a little more brave, like, oh, I'm gonna go a little bit, I'm gonna go 15 miles an hour this time, oh no, I'm gonna go 20 miles an hour. And I
Yeah.
think that was like bouncing around in our head at the time, like everything has led us to this point. Here we go. And
And yeah.
yeah,
Well, yeah, that's too bad.
yeah,
Yeah.
but I
At
mean,
least you weren't like stranded in a whatever place. Like that could have been a lot worse story. But yeah, still a bummer.
yeah, yeah, yes.
Yeah.
So yeah, and I know you had a car.
I did. I had a Pontiac 6000 LE.
Yes, right.
That's they don't make those obviously, and they made the six like there was kind of the little styling for the 6000 LE. The six was kind of squat, so
Mhm.
it looked like a G. So it looked like it was a Ghoul 6000 LE. It was pretty great.
Uh-huh.
My favorite story about that car, crappy car, but my first car, and I ran that thing into the ground. At some point, it started having electrical trouble, and we
Is
couldn't
this is
identify.
this the paperclip story?
This is the paperclip story. Yes, I
I
knew you
love
at the
this story.
time.
Yes.
This is
Yeah.
where I think I reached rock star status because of this inconvenience, but I don't know the science behind this. But I was driving the car, and then every once in a while, intermittently, I would put the car in or the key in the ignition, and I would turn it one click, to like, power on the car before I engage the engine.
Hmm.
And then it would just shut off.
Hmm.
Everything would just go dark. As if like I'd cut the cord, like as if the battery had become disconnected or dead or something. But the battery was somewhat new, as I recall. So it's like, well, that isn't it. What just happened? And
Hmm.
then sometimes I would leave and then come back and it would just be fine. And so my dad, so one time I was like very impatient, had to be somewhere, very frustrated. And I'm there, I'm complaining to my dad, like, I'm so mad, and you're an electrical engineer. What's going on here? And I'm not a delightful child because I'm under stress and everything, and whatever. And ungrateful on top of it all. So my dad came out and he looked at it and he thought, and I remember like just watching him as he very slowly like opened the glove compartment of my car, and he opened a little box because there he knew the fuse box, the fuse panel for the car. Cars have
Hmm.
fuses, come to find
Hmm.
out. I didn't know that. And he exposed the little fuses, and he reached in and he pulled out of his chest pocket. He had an envelope folded in half that he'd like grabbed from somewhere, and it had a paper clip on it. So he took the paper clip and he opened it up, and so now it's like kind of a C shape or U shape, I guess, and he touched it to two metal parts of the fuse box, and the car sprung to life.
Hmm. Yep.
And then, like, he didn't have to hold it; he just touched it, didn't get a shock or anything. He just made a connection. The car started. So
Hmm.
basically, he jumped a fuse or something is what I think happened,
Right.
and everything came to life. And I started the car, and like my eyes were just like popping out of my head because I like, what sorcery is this? Like, what did you do? And then that very same paperclip I kept there in the center console of the car. And every once in a while, like you and I knew each other, so you probably got to see this up close yourself. But when it would happen, and it was like no telling when, I would sigh and then do the same drill of touching the paperclip to the thing. And you know, there's worse things to do on a first date.
Uh-huh.
Like you kind of get a little bit of credibility. You look kind of, I don't know. It's a quirky story.
Yeah.
You got something to talk about anyway.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yep. So yeah, never did fix whatever that was, but yeah, that was the thing.
Mm. Very nice.
Yes. I know. Now we have my kids have I have three kids and they all share one car, and it's not a great car, but yeah,
Mm.
they get along.
Yeah, I wonder about that. Like I wonder because we have a plethora of kids in my life. So we actually have at the house here four cars, but only three people
Oh, really?
right now. Yeah, we have my kind of old Mazda, that it's got 200,000 plus miles on it. And then we have my mom's car, who is going to my 16-year-old once she actually gets her driver's license. Um, and so it's just kind of living here. But Nora's boy is that's like his car for right now. And then when my girl's ready, she'll get that car and he'll start driving the Mazda. Um, and Nora and her husband are kind of her husband, ex-husband. I'm her husband. Are kind of not completely sold on like the Mazda and even
Ah,
this other car. And because we've got like my car's a 2020, Nora's is 2021. We have his car is a 2020 maybe. We've all got like newer cars with all the greatest features and safety and this and that. Um, and they're like, well, maybe we shouldn't have the boy drive this car. And like,
hmm,
I don't know. Like, is it if I had my Escort today, right? Like same condition, same everything, how would it compare to this Mazda? Like, I think this Mazda might be a better car than what I was driving,
right.
right? Like, I just don't
It's so
know.
hard to
Like,
compare.
yeah,
It's all different now.
yeah.
Yeah.
And really, when I think of a car, for kids anyway, does it start when they want it to start? And does it break when they want it to break? And if it does
Yeah.
those two things, then great, you're good to go. Right, right. Like, um, but I, maybe I'm a little old school when it comes to that. I don't know.
Yeah, you're probably more bare bones, right? More function over form kind of
Yeah.
thing. Like
No,
you just take
definitely.
the car.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Like my kids had opinions. The funny thing, when they were looking at cars, so we ended up buying a Saturn, like an old Saturn. You know, the company no longer
Hmm.
exists. It
Yep.
tells you this car is old. And when we were looking at it, the one thing they wanted, but eventually got, is they wanted an aux plug of all things. Like that was the one
Yep.
feature. They
Yep.
wanted the ability to plug in a headphone jack to their phone, and then even with an adapter or whatever, and then the other end stick it into the front of the radio and play their
Yep.
music as they
Hmm.
drove around. That was the single most, like, they would put up with anything else. If they had that, they were happy. And it was at one point we had the Saturn and there was no aux plug in it, but I looked online and on eBay I found out that they did sell them with an aux plug,
Hmm.
and I could buy one on eBay, like as is, no warranty, you take it, you bought it, that's it. We don't know if it works at all or not. And it was like 20 bucks. And I thought, well, for 20 bucks, I'll give it a go or whatever,
Yeah.
or something like that. And but it also meant me taking apart the whole like panel of the car and stuff I've never known. And
Hmm.
thank goodness for YouTube videos where people did this very thing, and I could rip the whole thing apart and then swap it out. And then they were happy, and I was a hero for about a good 10 minutes, maybe even 12. And there we go. That was fun.
Hmm.
So yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right, you ready for another one?
Yeah. Give me one more, and then
Last one maybe?
probably yeah. Well, last one, I think.
Okay, so this is a different kind of one. I don't know what I will answer to this, but I think I've asked you questions, asking you about your childhood, asking about like favorite experiences, about your opinions on things. Well, there's 53 of these, don't forget. So there's no shortage of these.
Hmm.
We've only scratched the surface, but
Sure.
let me pick a different kind of one. Okay. If you could have as much money as you wanted, what would you
Okay.
do with it?
Oh.
So this is
Um.
more a different question from the ones we've had so far, because this is more like a more of a philosophy thing of how, looking forward.
Right. So, are you thinking like, is this like a one-time buy? Is this like, give me your top five things,
Well, I
or
think you could take it however you want.
hmm. Um. Hmm. I I don't know. I don't need a lot in my life. Right.
Uh,
I'm relatively simple in my needs. Um
right.
and it generally wants to, because I tend to be cheap. I've been kicking around thinking about buying a TV for over a year and a half, right? And I
Yeah,
just
yeah.
yeah. Um so okay, so let's say, so you see like these mega ball jackpots, right? And
Sure.
I think one of them now is like $400 million. Let's
Okay.
say I
Okay.
played and I won that. So I bring home whatever, 200 million, right? Generational money, right? Like,
Hmm.
um, so I, I think, my first disbursement would be to the six kids. They're not my kids
Yeah.
anymore in my life. Like, here is, I don't know, do the math, but here's $200,000 that I would like you
Right.
to use for school. Do whatever you want with it though, but I strongly recommend that you use it for school, right? I mean,
Hmm.
the youngest is 17 now, so I mean they're adults, right? So I think that would be my first thing. And then I don't know. I think that would be, that's all I can think of at this point,
Yeah, it's
right?
funny. So I don't know that I answered that one, but so I printed out all the questions, and so I'm trying to remember if I wrote that an answer to
Hmm.
that a long time ago. But yeah, like they phrase it in an odd way too. If you could have as much money as you wanted, okay, what would you do
Right.
with it?
Well,
Interesting. Okay.
how much do I want, right? But
I guess, yeah. I only want $1. Um, yeah, I don't know. So for me, I was thinking the big thing would be travel, I guess, because I haven't been very many
yeah.
places. Like if I'm being just selfish for me, what would I do? It's not a thing to get. Like there's things that, like we were talking about this. I have a TV that works okay, but it's very like of a different time
Hmm.
and could really be upgraded. But I mean, I could kind of make that happen today. I don't need to win a lottery to do it. It's
Right.
more of just getting around to it and finding the one that I want and doing the homework to get the thing that, that ticks all the boxes that I need it to tick.
Hmm.
But Yeah, probably just that travel. I realized that I like the idea of a great many things. Like I like the idea of, let's say, having a house like in northern Michigan. I know winter would be just terrible, but if I could like have let's say I'm making this is a fantasy, a beach house, let's say,
Yeah. Yeah.
that'd be fun. But like I like the idea of that. If I really did have unlimited funds, I don't think I would do that in reality because I don't want to have the there's work that comes with that and there's
Well, yeah, but
obligation and
I would
upkeep
argue
and
like if you had unlimited funds, then you pay someone else to do that
I
part for you.
suppose, yeah.
So it's just there for you when you want it. Like that's like overwhelming wealth, right? I mean,
Yeah,
that's you hear of
right.
millionaires who have two, three houses, right? They're not doing the upkeep on two, three houses.
But it just seems wasteful though. Like if I were to spend, even though that's
Yeah,
the point
no,
of
no,
it,
I
like
get it. Yeah.
you could waste whatever. But
Hmm.
even if I like, let's just say that this is a house that actually doesn't need very much upkeep or tending, or like the neighbor, let's pretend I could also have a magic spell to go with it. And I know my next door neighbor will take care of the house if I'm not
Hmm.
around. And, just, what is there to do if you winterize it or whatever? Just, check in on it here and there, maybe. So even with that, it's just if I had to spend money on a house that like now you're obligated to use it a little bit every year.
Yeah.
And what if you're not feeling it and you don't want to go there? I mean, you have to mow the lawn and all that stuff. I mean,
Yeah.
believe me,
Like,
if
and
someone wants to give me a house, I'll take a house. Okay, let's be clear. But
yeah.
I don't know that like if I had it, I don't know that I would seek it out actually. Travel, I guess, is my answer. Just and nowhere in particular, I guess, but just to go places. Like I've never
Hmm.
been to Europe. I'm sure I could if I thought about it a little bit, there'd be at least, I don't know, 10 places that are exotic to me that most people, I mean, people probably have gone to, but I want to see for myself. So that would
Yeah.
be it, I guess.
Yeah. And then there's times when I'm like, if I could just have $400 more a month to pay someone to take care of my yard for me, like that'd be great. Right.
Yeah,
Like,
the little things. Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Not everything overly exciting, right? That's nothing that, you know, that's not what, oh, someone won the lotto. Now they don't have to mow their lawn anymore. Like that's not, that's
Yeah.
not making headlines, but yeah, that'd be a
Right.
nice quality of life thing. Yeah.
Yeah. Like we have a cleaning service that comes here every other week. And
Hmm.
it's they're not exceptional, but
Right.
it's I don't know what it is. It's probably like $100 every other week or something. Maybe I don't know. Nor it's all Nora's thing, but
Uh-huh.
like, it's just nice to know, like, hey, you know what? I'm not gonna have to clean the toilets this weekend, right? like,
Right.
like it really spoils you to a certain extent, right? Like just that. I mean, 200 bucks a month, right? So like, can I win that lottery? Can I win the lottery that pays me $400 a month, and then I never have to
Yeah.
cut the grass again or weed or something like that? Like I'd be,
Right.
yeah,
That'd be
yeah,
good.
so,
Yeah, but
uh,
nothing too pretty boring, right? If it
yeah.
was younger JP, you'd probably have a different answer, right? 20 year ago JP.
It'd be a computer. It would be
Yeah.
something, some kind of stereo, like big sound speakers,
Hmm.
something probably, right? Um,
Yeah.
but
Or a cool phone, if you maybe depending on what year it was, like a cool upgraded phone.
no, I never cared about that. No,
No, not so much.
no,
Okay.
no, no. I don't think. Like I think of like maybe a car, maybe like a Tesla or with. But then see, this gets into how cheap I am. Like I'm like, do I want to buy a Tesla now, or do I like, am I better off waiting 2 years to see what's next?
Yeah, maybe a
Mhm.
Rivian. Maybe there's a GM thing that'll be cheaper, or maybe, or yeah, or cooler or
Or
whatever.
yeah, better range or whatever, right? Like
Yeah,
so,
yeah. But with technology, you just kind of go because it's always better in a year. That you just got to make your peace with that.
yeah, yeah, I suppose. But
Yep.
all right. Well, hey, I'm gonna take these questions and run. I'm going
Okay.
to, yeah. But this has been great. I'm gonna see. I think we've been talking about an hour, or
Think so.
so, like
Yep.
actual content. So I may actually break this up into two episodes.
You
Because
got
nobody
it.
nobody wants
Whatever,
to listen to
whatever.
me talk for an
Leave it in
hour.
your capable hands.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah. But yeah, this was great. I appreciate that. You wanting to do this, and I'm gonna task you with coming back on uh in the not so distant future
Okay.
to talk about maybe some more podcast directed topics.
Oh, that sounds ominous. But okay,
Yeah,
I'm in.
yeah, yeah. Cool, cool, cool. Okay. So thank you, thank you,
Hey,
and
anytime. That's good.
yeah, and we'll talk later. Okay.
All right. Yeah, sounds good.
All right.
Talk to you later.